Melissa Morris has had a food addiction as far back as she can remember. She'd always excuse it by saying if she had a weight problem, she wouldn't even be able to walk. This mindset led to her ballooning up to 645 pounds. She can still walk, but not for long, usually needing an electric scooter at the grocery store. Strangers there look at her funny, which greatly affects her self-esteem. Plenty of other basic things are a struggle for Melissa. Most of the time, she needs help from her husband, Chris. He's been somewhat of an enabler, which he regrets immensely. The couple wants to start a family, but because of Melissa's weight, they can't. This is 2004. Doctors are hesitant to operate on morbidly obese patients. Their chance of surviving is less than 5%, so gastric bypass has never really been an option. Until now. In Melissa's home state of Texas, TLC is filming a 5-part documentary on weight loss, and at the forefront of it is Dr. Yunan Nowzaradan, shortened to Dr. Now. Nobody's more qualified than him in this field, and his breakthroughs could make the surgery a lot less risky, but first he needs to test them, and Melissa is happy to volunteer. Although it could cost her her life, her current trajectory has even worse odds. If she's gonna go out, it won't be without a fight. So the procedure is shown on camera. I would really prefer if they did not do this. It's fucking gross. Not even in a TLC way where it gets your attention. This serves zero purpose. Anyway, all goes well with the surgery. Melissa's 20 pounds lighter, and just a few bites of jello make her full. Very early on, Melissa's life improves tenfold. She can go up and down the stairs much easier, and actually enjoys going outside. The fatty foods she used to binge now make her sick, so her diet mainly consists of proteins. Chris too has lost weight himself. Even the aspect ratio lost weight. Melissa's supposed to lose 30 pounds a month after the surgery. It's been 4 months. Ergo, the scale should be 120 pounds less. But it isn't. It's 140 pounds less. There's no doubt about it, Melissa's on a roll. She has had cravings at times, but is able to beat them no problem. Like when Chris's lunch basket is filled with junk food. All she has to do is cover it up with yarn. Also, she's bought a purse to hide her fat. That way she's not embarrassed in public. For once, Melissa is confident enough to visit family, showing everyone just how far she's come. Though on the flight there, she still had to buy 2 seats. But she won't have to much longer at the rate she's going. As the months go by, her sagging skin starts causing problems, meaning it's time for skin removal surgery. This one is also risky, but again, it's either get slim or die trying. And they show this procedure too, why? And you can't skip it here because there's a pivotal revelation. Here she opens up about something dark. As a kid, she was the victim of an unspeakable act. It no doubt played a role in her weight gain, though she blamed herself more than the perpetrator. That made it all the more difficult to come to terms with, but now she's on the path to recovery. The operation's another success, and her skin is donated to help burn victims. Melissa's at the point where she can drive now, so she goes and gets her license. Above all else though, she and Chris are finally able to have a daughter. The marriage would fall apart after Melissa discovered Chris was cheating, but that didn't dampen her spirits. She's kept on thriving now that the weight is finally gone. Justin McSwain did not have an easy childhood. His mother, Tara, got hooked on painkillers after a back injury, and when she lost access to them, she turned to harder stuff. Tara was prioritizing drugs over her own son, so Justin's father, Johnny, divorced her and took custody. 1 year later, he'd remarried to a mother of 2, adding more kids to the household. Justin felt like the odd one out. He became reclusive, shutting himself off in his bedroom most of the time. There really wasn't anything that made him happy. But then at age 10, his mother came back, free from all her addictions. Each weekend, Justin would go to her house, and she'd surprise him with all kinds of things. Movies, pizzas, cooked dinners. These were undoubtedly the best moments of his life. However, he'd also gained quite a lot from the junk food. Eating made him feel safe, because it reminded him of his mother. Unfortunately though, she'd fall back into her drug habits, and vanish once again. Now, all he had to look forward to was food. His stepmom tried to regulate it, but he'd always find a way around her. It only got worse when he left for college, because now he had free reign to eat whatever he wanted. In his first year, he weighed 320 pounds, but by the time he graduated, he was at 552. Justin could not get a regular job at that size, so he resorted to doing freelance work as a web designer. This endeavor was a huge success though. It earned him enough to buy his own house, but he rarely if ever went outside and did not cut back on his eating. He had friends, but whenever they wanted to hang out, he'd always make excuses to avoid it. As he continued to gain, his anxiety grew rapidly, leading to a major health scare. One day, he had to go somewhere for work, when all of a sudden, he had what felt like a heart attack. Justin was sent to the hospital where it was discovered to just be a panic attack. Still, this made him realize how dangerous his physique was, further worsening his anxiety. He started to ponder all kinds of scenarios where his weight could cost his life, and not just health-wise. What if he got into a car accident and they couldn't get him out in time? What if there was a fire and he couldn't run fast enough to the exit? A therapist diagnosed this as agoraphobia, the fear of situations you can't escape from. It got so bad that he had to quit his job and live off disability. Justin now is almost completely alone, with only his dog to keep him company. Tara only just recently became sober again, and has occasionally been checking in on him. Sometimes she'll even come over to cook one of his favorite meals. His father lives out of town, but if he's available, he'll come see him. That's about it for his social life. At any point, Tara could relapse and disappear again, leaving him with basically nobody. Justin's outlook is very bleak, but after learning of Dr. Now's program, he's decided not to give up. Before his flight, he stresses over what people will think of him. He isn't even sure if he'll fit in his seat yet. Luckily, he's able to get settled no problem. But during the flight, he gets antsy. It truly is his worst nightmare. A small enclosed space for several hours with no way out. By the time they land in Houston, his legs are too exhausted to walk. So he's carried out of the airport in a wheelchair and taken to the car rental. Tara doesn't have a credit card, so Justin has to rent it under his name and drive it, but he can't fit into any of the driver's seats. Not even the big SUVs are wide enough. His only option is to add Tara as a driver to the reservation, which costs extra money. But at the very least, they can finally head to their hotel and rest for tomorrow's appointment. Justin is weighed at 687 pounds, greatly exceeding his expectations. He starts to doubt Dr. Now's ability to save him, but then he walks in and lets them know that it's far from over. Dr. Now sets the goal of 100 pounds in 2 months and schedules a therapy meeting for his anxiety. Justin must also move to Houston with at least one other person. That way he's safe post-surgery. Back in South Carolina, he finds a gym where he can work out in private. It's perfect for him, since he doesn't have to worry about being judged. He's also eased into the diet very smoothly, giving him actual confidence for once. Tara also agrees to move to Texas with him if possible. It really couldn't be going better for Justin. Next appointment, he's down 92 pounds, very close to Dr. Now's goal. He's subsequently approved for surgery, and a couple weeks later, he's ready to go. Unfortunately, his mother can't move for financial reasons, leaving Justin in a bit of a pickle. His only other option is his father, who has quite a busy schedule. There's no guarantee he'll be able to go. Johnny comes over to discuss it, tells his son how proud he is, and says yes. At long last, Justin is ready for surgery, but because it took so much time, it's been tough for him to stick to the diet. He feels as if he's falling behind, and gets nervous about potentially losing eligibility. On move-in day, he can't carry all the furniture, which makes him feel weak and pitiful. But once it's time for the surgery, he finds out that he's lost an additional 86 pounds. Following the procedure, Justin's down to the 400s, and is finally addressing his anxiety. He's a completely different person now, and his mother is thrilled to see that. By the end of the episode, he's at 395, a nearly 300-pound decrease in a 1-year span. To celebrate, he gets a tattoo to immortalize this moment. Justin McSwain is now married and way more out and about. He does craftsman work for a living and gives motivational speeches about his journey. Compare that to before, where he was an utter husk with no direction in life. The difference is night and day. Nicole Lewis grew up under a difficult environment. Her mother, Darlene, would lash out at her for seemingly no reason, so she ended up connecting better with her father, Jim. To calm her down after these incidents, he'd give her loads of snacks. But this, of course, led to immense weight gain. Jim figured she'd grow out of it and lose the weight as an adult, but this never happened. Things only got worse when both of her parents got addicted to cocaine. They turned uncontrollably violent, and Nicole had no escape other than food. Later, her father would get arrested for drug possession, leaving Darlene without the ability to pay rent. Nicole and her mother, now homeless, had to rely on soup kitchens, which primarily served high-fat foods like pasta. Fortunately, once Jim got out, the family had a roof over their head again, but their drug issues never went away. So the now adult Nicole moved out and got a job. It was here that her life substantially improved. She was outside, exercising and meeting new people, including her first ever romantic partner. But with that boyfriend, she ended up with an unplanned pregnancy. He did not want to look after the child, so he left her without a moment's notice. Worse yet, Nicole's pregnancy came with blood clots, so she had to stay in bed throughout the entire thing. Now at rock bottom again, she searched online for people to talk to and ended up meeting a man named Charlie. She was rude to him at first, but he still supported her during a hard time, so he quickly became her new boyfriend and caretaker. Once their son Jaden was born, he had been fed so much junk food that he was diabetic and almost died due to a sudden drop in sugar. 2 years later, she had another child named Shelby, but Nicole had gained so much weight that she could barely take care of them. Her parents had to move back in and raise them, under the guise that they never touch a drug again. Right now, her day-to-day life is nothing short of miserable. For the 684-pound Nicole, getting out of bed is agonizing. She keeps snacks in her own room to avoid having to go to the kitchen, but even then she still needs help bringing them down. If she's ever told no, she throws a fit. The bathroom is unusable. She cannot fit through the door. So for showers, her boyfriend has to undress her and clean her with a hose outside. Not even the electric scooters at the store, which are specifically designed for people like her, can carry her. Jim and Darlene are not equipped to raise kids. They still have short tempers and let Jaden mess around in the bathroom unsupervised. Nicole's worried they'll get hooked on cocaine again, so she wants to move to Houston to see Dr. Now. Begrudgingly, everyone agrees to go with her. The drive from Ohio to Texas is stressful, so to calm her down, Charlie gets McDonald's and Subway for Nicole. They stay at a motel for the night, but when Nicole tries to get on the bed,
no.
This causes a massive fight.
Right. No, just shut up, Mom.
You didn't want to pay the other price for the other room, so...
When they said it was upstairs. Idiot. No, every damn thing I say you contradict and talk, you little...
I say you try it again, Nikki.
Okay, let's just try it again! You bunch of bastards!
Literally all they have to do is remove the wheels. There was no reason for it to get this heated. Next morning, things do cool down. While looking out the window, Nicole realizes just how much of the outside world she's missed out on, but not before another lunch break. They finally reach Dr. Now's office on day 3, though getting her in there is easier said than done. When asked if she will make it to 30, Nicole doubts she'll make it to next year, so Dr. Now gives her a diet plan that'll make sure she does. But Nicole doesn't think she can follow through with it. Well, 1 month in, she shows marginal progress. She is going out and swimming in the pool. However, Charlie still hasn't found a job, neither do they have proper housing. Why didn't Nicole look at apartments before leaving? Is she stupid? Rather hilariously in hindsight, they complain about these apartment prices.
$750 for a 2-bedroom, $850 for a 3-bedroom.
It's ridiculous.
You can't even get a studio for double that now. In the meantime, they've been checking in and out of hotels, which usually only have microwaves. So eating food that's good, healthy, and affordable is hard. At Nicole's next weigh-in, she's down 11 pounds, a far cry from what Dr. Now wanted. She blames her family for putting stress on her, but Dr. Now says she needs to stop with the excuses. Immediately after, Charlie brings greasy takeout food. They still haven't found a place nor a job, and the hotel bills are piling up. Nicole is being selfish again, which causes yet another argument with her boyfriend. Darlene, sick of all the drama, threatens to take the kids and move back to Ohio. But not even that prospect changes Nicole, who proceeds to order fast food while skipping her third appointment. She thinks that cheating just a little bit won't hurt too much. Until she steps on the scale again and realizes she's only lost 7 pounds. Dr. Now has very little hope left. As a last resort, he sends her to a therapist, since she thinks nobody in her family understands her. If Nicole has this outlet to vent her feelings, it could very well mark a turning point. After meeting with the psychiatrist, Nicole's attitude is far more optimistic. It also helps that Charlie's found a job and they've finally settled into an apartment, which they've been subleasing for additional income. The household dynamic is way less toxic. It seems like everyone's on good terms with each other, and Nicole has been exercising consistently, losing 27 pounds by her next visit. While not quite the rate Dr. Now wants, it's still a remarkable improvement from before, and he knows this. He says if she can lose 33 pounds to catch up, he'll give her the green light for the surgery. But then a setback occurs. The tenant they've been housing was revealed to be a drug dealer. The police stormed the premises, searching every nook and cranny for narcotics, causing a huge mess and significant damage to the property. The family environment is getting hostile again. Nicole is overwhelmed and tempted to relapse into food, but she fights it off. Instead, as recommended by her therapist, she writes her thoughts down on a notepad, and after a quick pep talk with the family, everything is back to normal. Even with this brief obstacle, she managed to drop 30 pounds in a month, close enough to qualify for the surgery. But before that, she has to improve her mobility just a little bit more. This is due to her history of blood clots. If she gets the surgery now, it would kill her. In order to continue, she needs to be able to walk for 10 minutes without breaks. No biggie. Just 2 months later, she's already met that goal. The procedure goes well, and now she and her boyfriend can go on actual dates. At the dinner table, Charlie has a surprise for Nicole. It's a marriage proposal. With tears of joy in her eyes, Nicole says yes. The episode ends with the couple making plans to move back to Ohio. That way the kids don't have to deal with Nicole's parents. Mysteriously, her father has not shown up since before the surgery. Charlie says he was hospitalized for a leg injury, but Nicole thinks there's more to it. The story continues with her Where Are They Now episode, which starts with the couple getting ready to move back. They did in fact get evicted following the drug raid, so they have no other choice. Jim is back to say goodbye to her daughter before she leaves, now being able to drive herself. But it's a very long and stressful ride for someone who just regained that ability, so Nicole turns to Charlie for support. However, Charlie isn't always available. He has a condition that makes him fall asleep easily. This causes more arguments.
You will get my wheelchair now!
Do you understand I can't get out the car to do anything?
It seems she still needs to work on her attitude. That night, they check into a motel and have a cheap meal to de-stress. Nicole swears this is a one-time thing. The only time will tell if she keeps that promise. The next morning, they reach Ohio and later find their new home. All is well for the couple until Darlene comes over with unfortunate news. Over in Texas, Jim has gotten back into coke and landed himself back in prison for it. It has also been discovered that he has pancreatic cancer and doesn't have much time left. Nicole and Charlie travel back to Houston to see him one last time, as well as to check in with Dr. Now. Things are crazy at the moment, so they're putting the wedding on hold. On the bright side, Nicole can now get into an airplane seat. However, she's she's falling behind on her monthly goals, and again is blaming external factors. Dr. Now suggests she go back to therapy to effectively deal with her problems, while Jim congratulates Nicole and encourages her to keep going. After another meeting with a counselor, she's back on track. By the end of the episode, she's qualified for skin removal surgery and ready for a brand new life. Nicole Lewis's story was a roller coaster to say the least. At the beginning, she was toxic and barely committed to the program, but all it took was some PhD advice to get her on the right path, until more conflicts arose that could have easily brought her back to square one, but they didn't. In the end, it all worked out. Amber Rachdi struggled with her weight as far back as she can remember. It's likely that her parents, Abe and Patty, didn't regulate her eating habits much. In the episode, we see that they let their dog roam around the neighborhood, which does raise questions about the family's responsibility. Amber's self-esteem was non-existent. At age 16, the doctor weighed her on a scale meant for people in wheelchairs. She, not being bound to one, could see that things were getting grim. In college, her motivation continued to decline. She did not want to study, work, or socialize at all. Soon, she'd drop out, giving her nothing to do but stay home all day. Now at 23, Amber lives with her parents, brother, and boyfriend. Merely standing up for long periods of time is a struggle for her. The stairs especially are a nightmare. Oftentimes, she'll wash herself with a brush, instead of going up to use the bath. The only time Amber ever leaves the house is to buy snacks, and that's if she can get into the car. She hasn't gone on a date with her partner, Rowdy, at all, and it's putting pressure on their relationship. Left with no other choice, the Rachdi family books a flight to Houston to get some help. Amber needs 2 tickets because she can't fit in just one seat. At the airport, her wheelchair breaks, so they have to use a luggage cart to transport her. This gets them plenty of weird looks, further exacerbating Amber's stress. It's her first time flying in years, and although she's way out of her comfort zone, she knows it'll be worth it. They land in Texas and arrive at the clinic, where Amber finds out she weighs 657 pounds. Dr. Now discovers she has lipolymphedema, a condition where the legs swell up and feel pain. He says the only cure for this is weight loss, something that can easily be accomplished if she follows his plan. Back in Oregon, the family starts relocating to Houston. This time, they're traveling by van, although Amber gets carsick easily, and at one point they have to stop to get her a barf bag. It's difficult for Amber to adjust to this new place, especially since she can't turn to food for solace. The temptations surely are there, such as when Rowdy gets fast food for himself, but she's able to overcome them. Also, she started going on frequent walks. At her follow-up appointment, she weighs 17 pounds less. Upon seeing this and the drastic increase in activity, Dr. Now approves her for the surgery. Once the procedure is done, Amber actually feels happy for once. Just a few months ago, she was incapable of ever cracking a smile. But a new stressor comes up when her parents announce they're moving back to Oregon. This'll be Amber's first time ever living independently, and the thought of that is a little nerve-wracking. A couple days after returning home, Amber was rushed back to the hospital. She had severe chest pain and her heart wasn't beating normally. Her body is fragile at her size, and if even the slightest thing goes wrong, it could be the end for her. Thankfully, it turns out to just be a panic attack, so now she's seeing a therapist to help deal with her anxiety. From then on, Amber only continued to make strides. She's learned to drive again, and is able to buy clothes that were once too small for her. By the end of the episode, she's at 280 pounds, literally half the woman she used to be. It concludes with her and Rowdy going on their first ever date at the zoo. While the two would break up sometime later, that hasn't undone Amber's legacy as one of the show's greatest successes. Jolin Whitworth grew up with a very strict mother. She did not want her daughter to get chubby, to the point of not letting her lick envelopes because she thought they had calories. As it would turn out, this authoritarian approach had the complete opposite effect. Jolin ate all the sugary snacks in the world whenever her mother wasn't home. By senior year of high school, she ballooned up to 375 pounds. Jolin embraced her physique and became a volunteer for NAFA, or the International Association to Advance Fat Acceptance. She recalls this as the absolute peak of her life. The organization traveled all across the world, staying in 5-star hotels and skinny dipping in the ocean. It was also where she met one of her closest friends, Bonnie. Jolin would post about her experiences online, where a man named Gareth fell in love with her. The two later got married and had a daughter named Hannah. But as Jolin gained weight, her happiness deteriorated. She became a shell of her former self, going out less and less by the day. Having pride in such an unhealthy lifestyle would eventually catch up to her. Fast forward to the present. Jolin is 42, almost 600 pounds, and spends most of her days either staring at the computer or sitting on the couch watching TV. In the car, her weight blocks part of the stick shift, hindering her ability to drive. Bonnie, meanwhile, has lost all of the weight and is basically Hannah's mother. They get to do all kinds of things that Jolin just can't participate in. It's only a matter of time before the young girl wakes up to find out her mother's dead. Luckily, they live in San Antonio, just a few hours away from Dr. Now, though her expectations are a bit unrealistic. She thinks the program will make her never want to have sugar ever again. Dr. Now lets her know that it's all about self-control and that she'll have to lose weight herself in order to qualify. The next day, she's watching Hannah and her friend play at the park from behind the fence. She knows that she's been robbing her daughter of a childhood and is determined to make things right. She proceeds to follow through on that and lose 28 pounds by her next appointment. Close enough for Dr. Now to approve her. Gareth isn't exactly thrilled since he's attracted to fat women, but Jolin knows her own livelihood comes first. Following the surgery, Jolin is put on a 1200 calorie a day diet. While it didn't instantly get rid of her cravings, she is able to resist them. Gareth tries everything to tempt her, offering to take her to the taco stand, then going through the Burger King drive-thru and ordering her favorite foods, but she refuses. Occasionally she'll break down and cry about sugar withdrawals, only to immediately get over it. At the next weigh-in, she's down to 443, a good but not ideal rate, so Jolin consults a personal trainer to shed pounds faster, much to the dismay of her husband. Cracks are starting to show in the family dynamic. Not even Hannah is siding with Gareth. Jolin bites the bullet and indulges herself with a Diet Dr. Pepper, only taking light sips, though she likely ate more than what was shown on camera, cause at her next appointment, her weight is exactly the same as before. Dr. Now reminds her that carbonated beverages after surgery is not a good idea, and recommends she quit, which she does. Now Jolin can play with Hannah on the playground, and even plans to run a 5K with her, but she has to cancel after injuring her ankle, opting to stay home for a healthy dinner instead. Gareth is also still being a prick to her. Although the episode ends on a positive note, there's still one loose end. The tensions between the couple would continue until one fateful Where Are They Now episode, where Jolin finally cuts all ties with her gooner husband. Despite Gareth's best efforts, he could not tear her down. Jolin came out on top in the end and has continued to live her best life raising Hannah. Pauline Potter's weight struggles began around age 6. That was when her parents divorced, and because there was no welfare at the time, her now single mother could barely feed the kids. Eventually, Pauline's parents would get back together, giving them financial stability. But now that they had food, Pauline used this opportunity to eat like her life depended on it. I'm running out of ways to say they ate a lot, okay? She reached 300 pounds at age 17, 400 at 29, and 500 at 31. At one point, she even held the record for the world's heaviest woman. Her son Dylan is her full-time caretaker. His young adult years have been almost entirely devoted to her, and it's taking a toll. Sometimes her niece Megan comes over to help, but the antisocial Dylan rarely interacts. It's a hassle getting Pauline into Dylan's car, so if she wants to go to the store, she'll follow it in her wheelchair. Obviously, that's not going to be viable for a Sacramento to Houston drive. Alas, they have to do it the hard way. Pauline says she has to have fast food. She can't get in and out of the van for a dine-in restaurant. Healthy drive-thrus do exist, but I digress. They settle into their new apartment, which has a medical bed for Pauline, and prepare for tomorrow's meeting with Dr. Now. The next day, Pauline is weighed to be 673 pounds. She confesses to abusing her power over Dylan. What a likable and caring mother. Obviously, Dr. Now is not in favor of this.
I was so scared he was gonna send me away, but he didn't.
What do you mean by that? Did you think it was gonna send you to like a concentration camp? Pauline walks out confident that she's gonna lose the weight. Actions speak louder than words, cause 1 month later, she's still lounging all day doing nothing. Fast food is still her primary diet, and they're no longer driving, so she has no excuse now. If Dylan says no, she gets upset. At the next appointment, she pretends to feel nauseous walking in. Nausea? Oh my god, I am so sorry, Pauline. I changed my mind. You are skinny now. Have a milkshake. When she finally gets on the scale, it's 4 pounds higher than before. Her new excuse is, are you ready?
I haven't done a lot of activity in the last week because my stomach hurts.
And when that doesn't work,
Well, I do have a problem with water retention. It may not have been water weight.
the oldest trick in the book. Pauline is not taking this seriously, so Dr. Now puts her on a controlled diet for 2 weeks. She insists that she could do this without help. If she could, then she wouldn't be there. By the end of the diet, she's down 44 pounds and is eligible for surgery. All goes well with the procedure. However, Pauline hasn't gotten out of bed for 5 whole days. It has never taken more than 48 hours for a patient to get up and running. She has to soon, otherwise she'll get a blood clot and die. Pauline tries to justify it by saying she has a pulled stomach muscle. I'm no doctor, but I'm pretty sure death is more severe than a pulled stomach muscle. Apparently, she's also able to cry on command, which explains her ability to control Dylan. It doesn't faze Dr. Now though, he's seen it all. Begrudgingly, she gets up and walks. Once. The clock is ticking, lady. Dr. Now orders an emergency air filter surgery, where they put a device in her that stops all the blood clots. She is lucky they did this before it was too late. After all that is said and done, Pauline still refuses to get up. It's a shame, because when she gets on the scale, she's down 136 pounds. That's no small feat, even if not a single nanogram was her own doing. Pauline is then discharged from the hospital and given a physical therapist. In the 2 months following, she misses every appointment and only does the activities she wants. Her logic is that going to the pool is safer than physical therapy because she can't fall. Alright, shocker, she doesn't know what's best for her body and only loses 6 pounds. Again, Dr. Now reprimands her for how little she cares. He decides to have the physical therapist come to her if she won't come to the physical therapist. The next month, Pauline is eating healthy and exercising a lot more. I'm just kidding, she's not changed at all. In fact, she goes to her next appointment in her wheelchair. She's just taking the piss now. When asked about the physical therapist, she claims she never got any calls. Dr. Now rings up the therapist for his side of the story and is told that not only did Pauline get the calls, but she answered them every time saying she didn't need help. Good lord. The episode ends with her still not going to physical therapy and still not walking. Later on, she did manage to get over her food addiction, only for an even worse addiction to develop: painkillers. One day, she took too much and almost died of an overdose. This event made her do a complete 180. I'm not kidding this time. It took 2 near-death experiences, a Guinness World Record, a son giving up years of his life, and being publicly broadcast on television to finally turn her life around. Better late than never, I guess.